All right, so today we're going to look at a really simple story, but one that I think holds a truth that is, well, it's deeply relatable. It's a story about a feeling that I'm pretty sure we've all had at some point. That split second of hesitation, right? That little voice in your head that causes you to miss an opportunity that is literally right there in front of you. Okay, let's get into it. It all really boils down to this one simple question and an even simpler action. Just think about it for a second. Seriously, what if you just said hello? What could actually change in that one tiny moment? Well, the story is all about exploring exactly that. So, our story starts with a guy named Daniel. He recently picked up this new habit of taking these peaceful morning walks. Just some time for himself to get some fresh air and quiet. But on this one particular morning, that simple little routine was about to change. As he's walking along his usual path in the park, he sees her. She's sitting on a bench, just looking out at a small lake, reading a book. She just looked perfectly calm and peaceful. And for some reason he couldn't quite put his finger on, this simple thought popped into his head. He just wanted to say hello. But almost immediately, his mind just floods with questions. And this is that first wave of doubt, right? It's that internal monologue that we all know so well. That sudden panic, that need to plan, the overthinking. It always kicks off with something like, okay, but what should I even say? And right after that thought, the next one comes tumbling in hot on its heels, the fear of being judged. What if this person, this total stranger he wants to connect with in a really harmless way, what if she thinks he's weird or strange for just walking up to her out of the blue? And then here comes the final nail in the coffin, that fear of just flat-out rejection. What if she just doesn't want to talk? And there it is. In just a few seconds, his own mind has built this massive wall between him and a simple potential conversation. And just like that, the moment's gone. He kind of slowed down. He almost stopped. But that debate in his head was already over. Hesitation had won. His courage just evaporated. And he just kept walking, right past her, and right past whatever that moment could have been. Now, what's really fascinating is what happens next, inside his mind. It's not just about the moment he missed, but about the whole story he starts to create to kind of justify why he didn't do anything. This next part, it's all about the assumption he makes. So a few days go by. Daniel's back in the park for his walk, and as he gets near that same bench, he sees her again. Only this time, she's with a guy. And they're walking together, laughing and talking. And in a flash, an absolute instant, Daniel's mind makes a conclusion. He has zero facts, not a single one, just this one little observation. But his mind immediately jumps to the definitive answer. Oh, she must have a boyfriend. And that one assumption, born from just a single glance, it becomes his reality. He tells himself there's no point in even thinking about her anymore, so he just stops. He even starts avoiding that part of the park. A few weeks go by, and what was just a small missed chance has now become a completely closed door in his mind. But, life has this funny way of testing the stories we tell ourselves, usually when we're least expecting it. So a few weeks later, a chance encounter is about to bring out the truth, and it's definitely not what Daniel was expecting. So there he is, standing in line at a coffee shop near the park, and he hears this voice that sounds kind of familiar. He turns around, and yep, there she is, the woman from the park. But this time, she smiles at him. They say hi, and they actually start talking. And he finds out her name is Emma. So this right here, this is the entire point of the story. Daniel, feeling a little braver now that they're actually having a conversation, he mentions seeing her that day. He says something like, I saw you walking with someone a few weeks back. I thought he was your boyfriend. And Emma just laughs, and she says, so simply, oh no, that was just my friend from work. I don't have a boyfriend.
And that is the aha moment for Daniel. In that one instant, it just all becomes so clear. The story he had been carrying around for weeks, the airtight reason he had for giving up, was completely made up. It wasn't real at all. It was just a story he told himself.
So, what's the big takeaway from Daniel's experience? This last part is all about the lesson, the main idea from this story that we can actually use in our own lives, whenever we feel ourselves starting to hesitate. There's actually a name for what Daniel did. It's a thing called preemptive rejection. Basically, it's when you play out an entire situation in your head, you decide that it's going to end badly, and then you use that made-up failure as a good reason to not even try. You're basically rejecting yourself for someone else before they even get a chance to say anything.
And really, that brings us to the most important point of all of this. Daniel's story really shows us that so often the things we think are holding us back, they're not really external barriers. It's not other people or crazy circumstances. The biggest obstacles are usually the ones we build ourselves, inside our own heads.
So, I'll just leave you with this final thought. The next time you feel that hesitation creeping in, that fear of saying the wrong thing, or that need to invent a story about why you shouldn't just go for it, try to remember Daniel. Because sometimes the only thing standing between you and a new friend, a new idea, or a whole new opportunity is just having the simple courage to say hello.